So a few days ago, I released my review for Black Flag Resynced, and I had one massive gripe. Well, more than one. Mainly, it was the hidden blade combat not being in the game, the fact that you couldn't pick up enemy weapons, and the fact that unarmed combat is locked to scripted pub rules, even though the system is clearly there, ready for it to be in the main game combat system. But since then, the game's director has been speaking about the things that fans want, and he didn't say no to them coming back. So in this video, we're going to be digging into what I think is coming to Black Flag Resynced, what's been confirmed, what's been hinted at, and what I think they should do for a future DLC. So let's jump straight into it. First things first, what do we actually know? So New Game Plus is coming. It's confirmed from game director Richard Knight in an interview with JawRaptor. The link for the video and Jaw's channel is in the description. His exact words were, "Yes, we're working on that right now." It's one of the things they're actually doing first, because Shadows already had it, and I think it would be a lot easier for them to push that into Black Flag Resynced, and it's low risk for them at this point. We don't have any date though, but Richard did make it clear that it wasn't a simple copy and paste job, because Resynced isn't built like Shadows. In Shadows, you could just skip straight to the hideout, but in Resynced, you can't do that. Now, of course, a couple of questions were asked about will there be exclusive rewards like Shadows had, and he said if it's up to him, yes, but there's production talks going on, because every single item needs a model, cloth sim, all of that game development fluff. Also, Ezio and Altair's legacy outfits are currently in the game. At the time of this interview, they were confirmed to be coming into the game. They're currently in the game. You get them through the Animus Hub store, so make sure you do your anomalies, and it's pretty safe to say that a ton more legacy outfits will be coming into Black Flag Resynced very soon, or in the coming months, because a couple modders were able to use a cheat engine to get into the inventory system of Black Flag Resynced, and there's a few costumes and outfits in there that aren't in the game yet but are the legacy ones, so yeah, safe to assume they will be coming into the game. Now, Richard Knight then got asked straight up about the hidden blade combat scenario, and he didn't say no. He said they're listening to community feedback, but he can't promise anything, and we all know that's somewhat PR speak, but it matters because they apparently didn't cut hidden blade combat because they hated it. They cut it because money and game development sort of thing. A combat system needs different rigs, animations, cloth physics, and apparently all of that costs a fortune. They ran out of budget and had to pick their battles, so it's not off the table, and I think if enough of us kick up a fuss about it, then it will be right back on the menu. Then we were asked about mission replay, and it got the same non-answer. They said they've looked at it, Mirage got it last year, but Knight reckons it'd be a mountain of work, so don't hold your breath, but don't write it off either. Personally, for me, I would rather see the mission replay system than New Game Plus. Mission replay was a thing up until the RPG games, and I would rather see that back in the game with different objectives, different rewards if you complete those objectives, very similar to how it was in Assassin's Creed Mirage. So personally, I would much rather see that in the game than New Game Plus, but that's my personal opinion. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments section. But before we get into what is 100% confirmed, I just want to say a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Instant Gaming. Now, if you guys love Black Flag Resynced and you love Assassin's Creed games but don't really want to pay the full price for them, then you can head over to Instant Gaming and get a pretty sweet deal on Black Flag Resynced, whether it's the standard edition, deluxe edition, and you can also get the older Assassin's Creed games for a cheaper price. All you have to do is click my link in the description down below, head over there and purchase some pretty cool Assassin's Creed games at a pretty cheap price. So link in the description, and once again, huge thanks to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Let's jump straight back into the video. So let's be honest, it's going to be 100% confirmed we will be getting more microtransactions in the game. At launch, this game had around 3 different MTX packs with different outfits and weapons, all around $8.99, that's Great British pounds, so around $10-12, and they were there. What I think and what I like about these microtransactions is that the actual outfits and weapons that you got weren't better than anything we had already gotten in the game, and I want them to continue that. In Shadows, there were weapons and outfits and trinkets that you got that made your character better and had better abilities, better skills, that sort of thing, and I don't want that for Resynced. What I think they've done really well in Black Flag Resynced is giving us cool outfits, cool weapons, all without having to buy these MTX packs, and I want them to continue that. Will they be adding some ship cosmetics, animal cosmetics? Probably. If they add a dog dressed up as Ezio into the microtransaction store, will I be buying it? Maybe, because I'm an absolute sucker for that sort of thing. But as long as it doesn't impede gameplay and it doesn't give a character overly powered abilities, then I'm okay with that. But yeah, safe to say MTX are coming into the game. And now this is where we start to get interesting within this Draw Raptor interview and what I personally want for the future of Resynced, and that is story DLC. And Richard Knight actually talked about it. He said the reception's been mad with the game, but it's early days and some of the team have got DLC ideas they need to weigh up against whether they're doing that next. And then the bit that got me was that he said the whole focus of this remake has always been Edward, and maybe, just maybe, there's more to his story to tell. And I think I see where they're going with this. I really don't think we're getting a Freedom Cry remake or expansion done again. I really think they're just focusing on Edward, which is a shame because the Freedom Cry DLC is one of the best throughout the entire franchise. So it's a shame we're not getting that. But if we're getting more Edward, I want to put across my pitch for what I would want for a new Edward DLC. So Black Flag ends with Edward back in London. He's out of the assassin life, he's got his daughter, and it's probably one of the saddest / happiest endings of the entire series. So I think we should start the DLC right there. Right after the theater, no time skip, no montage, none of that. Let's have Edward walking down the street to go and get chocolate. Domestic, a bit boring, completely ordinary. The exact life he spent the entire game not choosing, and then boom, he gets word of a Templar sighting and he has to go off and complete it. That's your opening mission, okay? That's the whole thing there. The man cannot leave the Assassin Brotherhood behind, and it falls into his journey within the Forsaken books. That tells his journey when he's in London, training Haytham, how he gets betrayed, and I really think this end DLC could be the perfect storybook chapter ending to Edward, leading into what Haytham becomes, which is a Templar in AC3. I think that would be pretty cool to see that in game. Let's have the Forsaken books remade into this DLC, and I don't mean just like a small little quest line that we got in Shadows through the 3 quest updates. I'm talking about a fully mocapped, acted out, awesome, big DLC, and if we have to pay $10, $15 for it, great, as long as it's worth it. You know, I think a lot of players want a DLC, story DLC for Assassin's Creed again, because some of the ones we've had in the past were some of the best content we got. I mean, we all remember the Jack the Ripper DLC. That's incredible, and I think a lot of us want some kind of story like that back, and I think it would be pretty cool. But there's a whole gameplay case for this too, because London will be dense, tight streets, the tall buildings, proper rooftops stacked on top of each other, perfect for Resynced's parkour, and I think that's when it becomes a lot better. Then there's the stealth, because my biggest gameplay gripe with the entire game for Resynced is the stealth, whereas London will give you the dark alleys, the indoor spaces, light sources you can put out with Edward's abilities or weapons, whatever it is, and I think that would be pretty cool. And yeah, give me 8 hours of Edward Kenway stalking London, hunting Templars, trying and failing to be a normal dad, and maybe do the end of the Forsaken book. I think that would be pretty cool. And again, let me know what you think about that idea in the comment section down below. So that's where I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is heading into the future. New Game Plus, some extra content, MTX, that sort of thing, and hopefully a fully fledged DLC for Edward Kenway to finish his story and maybe see him in London. I think that would be pretty cool, and it's definitely something I want to see. Once again, huge thanks to Instant Gaming for sponsoring today's video. If you're still waiting to pick up Resynced, head over to Instant Gaming and pick it up for cheap, and of course all the other Assassin's Creed titles and DLC they have there ready and waiting for you to purchase. But ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section down below, let me know what you want for the future of Black Flag Resynced. Do you want New Game Plus? Do you want mission replays? Or do you want a full story DLC with Edward Kenway at the helm set in London? Because that's what I want. Let me know down in the comments section. If you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.